back to the channel, and I think this will probably be my first inspiration video, although it might be the second. So if you've seen one already, let me know. But this is for the May Crafty Crew Kit from Crafty Stamp Co. Links and all that stuff are down below. I will say that, like all of the kits, these are available both in a subscription form and also you can buy them ad hoc. The purchase period ends on the 15th of April, so it's probably on sale right now. But if you want it, I would definitely not delay because basically the stamps are not available through the normal catalog for at least 6 months, and I think some of these you're gonna really like. Anyway, I thought in my with my love of baking, I thought we would play around with the Patissier Meadow. Or maybe pronouncing that wrong. I did actually look it up on Google Translate, and sometimes it sounds like patisserie and sometimes not. Anyway, so we're going to use meadow and a cinnamon and some little bits and pieces. I will throw down in the bottom a little splice of me stamping and coloring, and I'll just talk through all the pieces and explain what I did. Anyway, if you've been on the channel for a while, you probably are familiar with this mini slimline card base because it is from a Crafty Al sheetload of cards, and it's one of my favorites because this is 11 inches. This is scored at 6 1/4. This is 3 1/4. So if you do the math, you can get two of these out of a single sheet of 8.5 by 11 rather than just one. I'm supplementing with a 3 by 1.5 piece of pattern paper from our delightful pattern paper pad, the Sugar and Spice. And I decided accidentally while I was coloring Meadow to go with a brown theme. This was originally going to be a pink card, but some things interceded. So we'll look at the fun little inside piece. I just stamped out the measuring cup and then colored this with blue 60, I believe. And that'll just go in here. And I like to color glass with blue because it kind of gives you that translucent but not completely translucent kind of vibe that like measuring cups and glassware and like glasses have. So there's that. This is 4.5 by 3. So if you're doing the math, these two make 6 inches. So um, that is that. Originally like the front piece and this piece would all be pattern paper. And then we have our meadow. And I used some apricot, one of my favorite ink colors, in the background. And this is where I thought the apricot was going to be lighter. Um, but I like this because it sort of looks like she's like next to an unfinished wall. And I feel like we're going like basically once we put a sentiment on here and have some pattern paper, there's going to be a lot going on. So I think this is going to be a really ooh, I like that together. Anyway, so this was originally going to be more pink. You see, I gave her pink chef pants and pink cuffs. I left her hat white because I don't know. I feel like most chefs are either wearing white or black, at least the ones I've seen recently. So this actually comes together pretty quickly. I'm going to use glue today, but you could certainly use dry adhesive. This, if you're comparing this to the original sheet load, which I will link just because I don't know if it's in the vault yet, but many sheet loads are going in the vault at some point, but I think this one is still freely available. Anyway, if it is, I'll link it below. But I just stamped the Life Short Lick the Bowl sentiment. I did this in this fabulous gray ink from Versafine Claire, which is Morning Mist. It's a little bit of a warm undertone gray, so I really liked how this came out. I think this is going to look really nice. But anyway, I was originally going, if this came out lighter, I was going to do this with like a pink card base. But anyway, let's put it together and see how we like it. I think I will put her on first. I also did this coloring on Hammermill copy cover paper. So I've been enjoying that more than the blending card recently. And the nice thing about using glue for something like this is you have some wiggle room so you can make sure that it goes on straight. I'm just going to take one of my junked up acrylic blocks that I use to weight down gluey things and just make sure I have good coverage. This is not a like this cardstock is not coated, so it really shouldn't be an issue. But the nice thing is once you get two layers on here, even if you were using a lighter cardstock, this works really nicely, in my opinion. And if you wanted to use some of your twine, because that is the freebie or extra gift or whatever the proper word you want to use is this month in the kit, um, you could certainly do that. I think it would be lovely to do a little tie here. Uh, I actually put her slightly to the side because I knew I was going to use this sentiment, so I wanted to sort of have plenty of room for that. But you could certainly do a little tie off here too to add extra bits and pieces. Then I'm just going to put our last piece on, or I mean, not really our last piece, but our second to last. And this is going to cover up I'm going to trim this down a little bit because it looks like it's going to cover up a little more than I would like. Yeah, I think that'll work nicely. So I am going to, what I usually do is I try to, since this is going to show, I'm a little more concerned about getting that lined up. And then you see like you might actually this lined up perfectly, but if you do have some overhang, you can certainly let it overhang into the inside of the card. So this is what it looks like closed. Here's what it looks like open. And now the only tricky part of this card that's not really all that tricky is you just only want to put glue on the side of this sentiment that isn't overhanging so that it balances nicely. So I'm gonna just m- line this up. This is actually really easy because our rolling pins kind of act as sort of a nice horizontal line. And if you wanted to, you could certainly add some bling. I am a fan, as you know, of the blingy bits, but I actually really like this the way it is. It has almost a clean and simple vibe, which isn't what I was planning for, but it is what we got. So anyway, this is our friend Meadow baking, and then we have a little surprise of the measuring cup, and then there's still lots of room to write in here. So that is the first project I think I'm going to do with the May kit. And let me know if you like this sort of inset of seeing the coloring just sped up and in the corner. Um, I can keep doing that because a couple folks really liked it the last time we did it for Crafty Crew, so that you could kind of get the coloring, but not have to like necessarily look at watch a speed color. But if you would like more of a in-depth chat about the coloring, let me know. I can certainly always do a voiceover. Until next time, it has been great crafting with you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.